today, I'm gonna brew this guy's American Light Lager from his channel. So I had this wild idea that I would just brew other YouTubers' beers, taste them, but also send them one. See if I got it right. I'm gonna brew his American Light Lager from his channel. And when I say I'm gonna brew his recipe, there's gonna be a slight change. And as you can see, I'm gonna go with 2 vessels today. I'm gonna go with my mash tun and a boil kettle. I'm gonna try something new today. I found this 30 cup coffee maker, but it actually looks like it's gonna hold more like 40 cups, which ends up being 2.5 gallons of water. I'm going to sparge today with 2.5 gallons of water. So I ran into a small problem. I'm supposed to have 6 pounds, 5.6 ounces of Pilsner malt. I started weighing it out. I was pretty sure I had enough, but I ended up having just 6 pounds, like almost exactly 6 pounds, which left me 5.6 ounces short. The first change to the recipe, which was unplanned. I am gonna add Weyermann acidulated malt. Now, I was gonna add lactic acid into my mash to bring the pH down, but instead I'm gonna add the acid malt to bring the pH down and to bump my gravity back up to the original starting gravity. I'm trying to do Matt's exact recipe, but obviously different systems, things like that, things are gonna change. So I'm gonna sub and put the acid malt in there, which he did not have in his recipe. I think he used lactic acid. It kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Brings my mash pH down to an appropriate level without using lactic acid. And it also bumps my gravity up a little bit so that I can hit my numbers so that I can get that 3.9% alcohol. That's the absolute smallest grain bill ever. I am adding 2 pounds or just a little under 2 pounds of flaked rice to this as well too, so it's gonna end up being like an 8-pound grain bill, but this is now the smallest grain bill that I've ever done. All right, I'm ready to start my sparge process, so it's time to disconnect, run it over to my boil kettle. Just let it run in at a trickle. I might turn it up a little bit, and now I get to sparge with my new coffee pot sparge dispenser. Mistake number 2, I don't have Hallertauer Mitchell Brewer. So I'm putting in an ounce of Tettnang at 60 minutes because the alpha acids was 3.8, the Hallertauer was 4.5, what I thought I had that I didn't have. It's starting to sound more like a German Pilsner to me. Here we go. So I said there was going to be another change to the recipe. So far I've changed 3 things about the recipe. I've changed the grain bill. I added acidulated malt. I changed the hop because I didn't have Hallertauer Mittelfrüher. And the change that I was speaking of in the beginning was this right here, the yeast. I happened to be up in Fresno, and there's a homebrew shop up there called Ben Como's Homebrew Supply. If you're in the Central Valley, go check him out. He's got a lot of good stuff. He carries White Labs, and the yeast that Matt on his American Light Lager, it was a pseudo lager. He used Lutra Kveik. I have some Lutra Kveik, but I didn't want to use it. I wanted to use a lager yeast, and so he said he has also used WLP 840, which is White Labs American lager yeast strain. So I was up in Fresno the other day. I went by the homebrew shop and I'm like, hey, do you have WLP 840? And he says, no. And I said, all right, so what's similar? And he said, well, WLP 830, which is German lager yeast. So I made a starter a couple days ago with 2 packs of the WLP 830, the German lager yeast. I am going to ferment this one as a traditional lager at 50 degrees. Started out keeping it, I usually keep it for about 7 days at 50 degrees. After the 7 days, I'll start ramping it up to maybe 62, 65 for another 7 days, just to kind of finish out fermentation, do my little diacetyl rest. Hopefully it still tastes good, and let's see, when I send Matt, let's see if he can tell the difference. All right, I've started chilling my wort. I've got my Northern Brewer reactor, conical fermenter, stainless steel conical fermenter, ready to go. So quick shout out to Northern Brewer. They did send me this fermenter. They also sent me that Edelmetall kettle and Edelmetall burner and the Northern Brewer wort pump. So shout out to Northern Brewer for making this brew day possible. I also got most of my ingredients that I'm using today from them. So if you're looking for a place to get all your homebrew equipment, Northern Brewer is a one-stop shop for pretty much everything you need. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Because my efficiency was better, I'm at a higher gravity in there, but I've got a lower volume of wort in my kettle. I'm at 5.35 gallons in my kettle. I'm supposed to be at like 6.25, so I can rack 5.5 gallons into my fermenter, because I usually have about a half a gallon of trub loss in my fermenter, which means if I transfer 5.5 gallons into my fermenter, I'm gonna end up with like 5 gallons into my keg, which is kind of what I want. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and rack everything that I can into my fermenter and see where I'm at in volume. And then I'm gonna top up with some fresh RO water. It's gonna lower the starting gravity a little bit, which is what I want. And it's gonna give me more volume, which is also what I want. And then also, because my water's out here in the garage, it's like 50 degrees in the garage. That's also gonna help chill my wort down, so that when I pitch my yeast, I'm close to the 50 degrees. It's time to pitch my yeast. Okay, so I'm trying to seal this up and it's not sealing. I'm like, what the hell? I look in there and the gasket is not in the lid, which means, and I don't see it anywhere. I don't see it anywhere up here, so that means it's in here. So I get to go fishing for the gasket. Better sanitize everything. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of stressful. As far as brew days go, I've had better. I was way over on my starting gravity. The gasket fell into my beer. I actually at one point found a little bug gnat floating on the top of it in the fermenter. Fingers crossed, but if there's gonna be an infected batch of beer that I've made, this is gonna be it. But we gotta wait and see. So it's ended up at 10:06, which puts this American light lager at 5.1% alcohol, which doesn't sound like an American light lager to me. But shh, we won't tell Matt. I'm just gonna send it to him and see if he can tell. So Matt, if you're watching this, it's 5.1%. So just instead of having 5 of them, just have 4. You'll be good. It is an absolutely beautiful day. It is so beautiful that the dogs are barking. This is Matt Ushman's recipe for beer that I made. And this is the beer that Matt Ushman made of my recipe, my International Amber Lager. So they are not the same. They are not supposed to be the same. And this is literally, I have 2 cans of this left that I've been saving. It did not last long. It was really good. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I did not fine it or anything. Look at how clear that is. I'm like way across the table. Can you see that? It is super, super clear. No finings other than kettle finings. I filled it too full. Oh, it's got like that, like this like crisp lager smell, dude. Little bit of sulfur. Crisp and refreshing. It is actually one of the favorite beers that I've ever made, and I can't even take credit for the recipe. So, let's see. Matt sent me this beer of mine that he made. An International Amber Lager. Oh yeah, good carbonation, huh, Jax? Good carbonation. I'm not gonna pour the rest out. I'm gonna leave a little in there. Oh, look at that. Nice and clear, good carbonation, good bubbles. So this was my International Amber Lager that the recipe that I brewed, but he brewed it and he sent it to me. This one smells like it's gonna be crisp. I don't smell much. It smells kind of lagery. There's not that sulfur smell, but it almost smells a little metallic. Yeah, it's got, I like that. That is really good. I got 2 delicious lagers here. Matt, great job. That is pretty much exactly as I remember it. Ended up being super clear. It has clarified a little bit. I can tell there's a little bit of junk in the bottom of the bottle there. It almost has like a slight, like appley fruity taste to it. And I think it's the corn and the malt like combination. I don't think it's an off flavor because mine tasted just like that, and I really like it. Got just enough malt sweetness in there, but still super clean and crisp. When I had this on tap, this did not last long. I have this in cans, which like I said, I only have 2 left. This is one of them. And I did also save a little bit in the keg that I have on tap. Didn't last long at all. I didn't find it with gelatin or anything like that. And this is probably the clearest beer I've ever made. I am so glad that I decided to brew this beer of Matt's. I'm glad that he chose this beer of mine to brew and he sent me some. I've still got a couple of these left. So if you haven't checked out Matthew Ushman, Trouble Brewing with Matt Ushman, if you haven't checked out his channel, go check out the link in the description below. Go over and check out his channel. And if you want a light lager beer, this is a great recipe. And I know I made a couple tweaks to it, but I'm sure it wasn't enough to make that big of a difference. This is still a great lager. I mean, mine came out at 5.1%. I almost wish it was a little bit lighter, and I actually did hit that. I would really like to try this with the American lager yeast, the WLP 840. If you want to go check out Matthew Ushman's video on this beer, go click up here. If you want to go check out the video that I made for this beer, my International Amber Lager, go click up here. Yeah, here. Here's mine. Here's Matt's. Go check them both out. I mean, why not? Cheers. Hope you guys are staying warm and it's sunny and sunshiny wherever you are. I got 2 beautiful beers to finish here, and I'm gonna sit out here and enjoy them. Huh, Jax? Yeah. Cheers. Cheers again. Let's go enjoy the sunshine.